Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. There has never been a time like this in our industry with such a focus on used vehicle acquisition. Reconditioning is at the top of the list for many of the people watching today. I want to welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable Anthony from Rapid Recon. Anthony, welcome back to the conference.
Great, Ted. Thanks for having us. And I brought a guest along with me. I've got Denim Simkins from Tim Daly Nissan Southtown. He's the service director there and an avid user of Rapid Recon for years now, right, Denim?
Exactly, a lot of years. And I appreciate the invite. Thanks for having me. And Ted, it's a pleasure meeting you virtually here. I follow your stuff. It's been great.
Denim, same here as well. And thank you so much on behalf of the Fixed Ops community. And Denim, I mean that sincerely. Reconditioning is now, I can't imagine at a Fixed Ops Roundtable, one of the top focuses. We've had panels where it's come up along the way. And, you know, Anthony, the importance of getting that vehicle frontline ready in the shortest amount of time possible. So you've always shared some great best practices, Anthony, with our group. And I'm excited what you and Denim have for us today.
Yeah, we wanted to talk a little bit today about CPO and why that's important to fixed. I have a prominent background in fixed. I was a parts manager for years for Nissan, also General Motors, Kia. And so I've got some insight on why CPO is important to parts. And I'm hoping that Denim can bring some talking points to why CPO is important to service as well.
Absolutely.
So, you know, Ted, I guess we'll start off. Do you have any questions for us before we jump in, or do you want us to just start talking?
What do you see right now happening in our industry, Anthony? Here we are in mid-September that our audience needs to be aware of on the reconditioning front. Again, we're seeing and hearing so much about it. And again, our industry is changing so fast, you know, month by month. What do you see occurring that we need to be aware of?
Well, this probably isn't anything that parts managers don't know, but the question that I would have is the question I'm about to ask is, do your countermen know it? And, you know, I'm going to use GM as an example simply because I have so much experience with them. But, you know, they have sales loyalty that's required for VINs. If you run a GM VIN through your service department, your sales loyalty in parts needs to be at 95%. That sales loyalty is tied to back-end money. Now, the store that I came out of, we had a very large wholesale parts operation there. And so there was a lot of back-end money on the line. And so it was vital that we were compliant there. And that's what, you know, one of the reasons why CPO is important to fixed. You think about it, there are dealers that have large wholesale parts operations that they'll book $2 million in back-end funds into net profit in a year. And so, you know, missing something like, oh, I put big O tires on a car versus I could have put Kelly's or Continentals or Hancooks on that car and been compliant and made my 95%. But I missed out on a good chunk of that $2 million simply because, you know, I was trying to save a buck here or there. It didn't save us any money at all. So you got to be a little bit smart about this. And, you know, when I ask the question, do your countermen know that, does your counterman know the why? And here's what I mean by that. If they know really what's riding on that to the dealer, can they balance something between, you know, I've got to get an affordable part on this car, but I've also got to be compliant. And, you know, with GM, they still have, I think, gold and silver lines that are quite affordable, that are still compliant, that you could pick up at your WD. And they still keep you above that 95% threshold, you know, on those GM VINs that are running through your department. So,
yeah, and I would add to that and how important this is on the service side. I mean, you make some really great points there, Anthony. You know, really when it comes to reconditioning, as we all know, how critical it is to the livelihood of the store. When the quicker I can get something online or up frontline ready, the quicker I get a replacement vehicle. And that's really, if you go at it with that type of mindset, then obviously you're going to do everything you can to get that vehicle in and out of service. But I agree exactly with what you're saying is leveraging the tools that you have in the department gives you the ability to make those type of decisions where we're procuring parts, where it just doesn't, we're able to get that done at a quicker pace because we can more or less alert the parts department immediately when we need something by utilizing the tool and getting them the information that they need so they can quickly get those type of things for us and get that car heading the right direction and hopefully being sold within a week or so.
So Denim, I want to put you on the spot, but one of the best ideas I ever heard of came from you. And I've written articles about it and I've given you credit every time, I promise. But
I appreciate that.
I went out to your store and I think you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So I want you to speak to that intake process that ties in the parts department. Can you speak to that a little bit, please?
Yeah. So obviously we were just trying to eliminate some squeeze points in the process. Where does it slow down a little bit? And identified quickly that with every vehicle that we bring into service for reconditioning, we add these specific parts. We actually came up with something very innovative called the usuals, a term, and actually named our bucket called the usuals. But even before a technician goes to pull that vehicle in, which could be a day or two from once it hits our go bucket, we give that to parts so they can go ahead and source those factory parts that like you speak to and have them ready sitting on the side. So once that car finally comes into reconditioning, I have the correct wipers, the correct air filter, the correct cabin filter, the correct oil, if you will, based on what we've got going through there. So we're able to speed that process up, and that doesn't even slows down a half a day or minutes, if you will, because we've got that ready to go.
And that's all pulled, right? It's pre-pulled.
Yeah, it's all the parts department gets the first notification that this car is coming into reconditioning. They go ahead and source all those parts. The minute that that's ready, then it goes back into the reconditioning queue, and we dispatch that to a technician from there. So essentially, when he pulls that vehicle in, now if I could only have one that could keep salesmen away from the keys, but when the technician goes to pull that one in, he's ready to go. And the basic reconditioning step and process is parts are already there, ready to go.
Are the parts at the counter? Where are the parts when they pull the car in?
Right. So typically we like to have those out with the technician at their bay. So we'll pre-pull them, bill them. We've got some crates and some buckets that we put them in, and we'll have it sitting out there for that technician when they pull that vehicle in.
I think when I actually went out and saw this at your store, on the tote, there was like a dry erase piece on it, and somebody would put the RO number on there.
Yeah, so they just could quickly match that up and know exactly what that one is for, and then go to work, of course. And then, like you mentioned early on, Ted, when you started this, it is the used car industry over the last few years has obviously evolved and changed, and the importance of that to the dealer to get that car even a day sooner than what you typically average is paramount and can really help. Where cars are tough to come by. We are trying to do everything we can to acquire those on the service drive and through our other methods. But we have to treat them with the respect as we would a customer's car as well, but we have to treat them with more respect to get them in and out of the reconditioning process.
And Denim, it sounds like you've incorporated Rapid Recon's technology, their software throughout the dealership. Talk to us a little bit about the importance of being able to do that.
Yeah, so I've got to say that this absolutely works because there's buy-in from not only all departments, but I think it's even several steps higher than that. When the owner is actively involved and when the general manager is actively involved and supportive about these type of things, it really gives you the platform to be successful. And it takes that type of buy-in all throughout. And a tool like Rapid Recon easily connects all of those dots. So a quick conversation doesn't need to happen to go track somebody down. They can simply reply electronically. Most of us just live right on our cell phones and can process that car through the thing. So yeah, we have implemented the Rapid Recon tool, and then just along the way have just made little tweaks and changes along the way, saying this is how we can improve. Another quick thing, just a quick tidbit here that we just implemented at this store here is we have a vendor bucket, and whether that's a windshield vendor or a paintless dent repair vendor or a wheel repair vendor, we simply, when we have a car that is needing that, we simply have incorporated that vendor into our Rapid Recon process. So when I drop that in their bucket, they get a text notification with the vehicle, VIN number, everything. So if my windshield guy can see that where he's out maybe servicing other accounts and know that he's got to come by tomorrow morning to get that done. So it really helps hold our vendors accountable. But more importantly, and I can't stress this enough, if anybody's thinking about this or, wondering how they can improve their process, everybody just simply needs to leverage the tools that we have. And it starts from the top up and everybody needs to have 100% buy-in.
Denim's got a great point, Anthony. I have heard, as he just mentioned, dealer principals, general managers talk about specifically the Rapid Recon tool as opposed to anything else that's out there. Anthony, you've been very successful in doing this from the top down at the dealership. Talk to us a little bit about that, and of course, the importance of being able to implement it that way.
Look, we took a different approach with Rapid Recon years ago, and this was probably about the time I came to work for the company. But back in around 2016, we really realized that this does come down to people and process. I mean, and trust me, you need the tool to make this all work, because you've got to have all the reports but the tool functions as a communication platform that happens to have workflow tracking. But our tool gets really down into the minutia of what are the behaviors of your people. There are ways to track things maybe in like a Google Doc or a whiteboard, and those could tell you if you have a problem with your process, but they won't go back and they won't tell you, I've got a technician that's holding on to cars and he's batch updating those cars, or he's moving all of those cars at one time to the next phase. And those types of behaviors are the things that bottlenecks are born from. They have absolutely nothing to do with production. Our tool doesn't help a technician turn a wrench any faster. It doesn't make carpet dry any quicker. We're not about, bringing out the whips and say, work harder, because that doesn't get anything done any faster. What we do is we provide a platform that helps alleviate the things that slow people down. And it's really, technicians only stop working for two reasons: parts and information. Yeah. So if you've got a good parts process like this guy does right here, and you've got a good information process, you can keep those technicians turning wrenches.
Hey, I want to touch on something that you mentioned there, and you kind of glossed over reports, but I got to share a little light on what we do every week when it comes to the reports in Rapid Recon. And this also just really validates that I mentioned about the buy-in from the ownership down. So Monday mornings or Monday afternoon, we do a Zoom meeting, and simply it's obviously your typical financial review meeting. But a major part of that meeting is, and keep in mind, on this meeting, we have our corporate controller, our owner, our fixed ops director, we have our sales director, the general manager in this meeting. And requirement for that meeting is to know your top 10 oldest used cars that are in reconditioning. And we utilize the tool out of Rapid Recon to look and see, okay, what are our top oldest vehicles, and what are we doing to help get them progressed or get them out of here? And that type of focus allows you to really say, okay, this is what we need to work on this week or today or whatever the case is, and get this car out of here. But like I mentioned, we also talk about what cars are inbound and coming in, and what can you get prepared for in advance once that's here. So, and then last but not least is how many cars do you have at this point in time through your, what we call in our process right now that is in for reconditioning. And I venture to guess without a tool like Rapid Recon, you wouldn't be able to ask a dealer that and get the same answer from the people in that room. This absolutely streamlines it and allows you to, you know, have a very concise conversation, quick, and move on.
You know what? There's no wonder, Denim, that Rapid Recon gets the dealer principals and general managers' attention with what you're telling us right now. Right. Because, you know, I think back to the old days in the F&I department about the Save a Deal meeting, Anthony. You've taken that to a whole new level, you know, with the kind of things that, you know, Denim is describing right now.
You know, I want to circle back on something that Dennis mentioned, or Denim. I have Dennis on the brain. I may want to re-record that, Ted. Let's
no, I was thinking of Dennis McGinn, okay, the owner of Rapid Recon, who was on the last show and had some very profound things he shared. But go ahead.
You know, one of the reasons why getting these vehicles through fast is so important to service is take the temperature of your used car manager that's making the decision to spend the money on the car. If these cars are slow, how much money are they spending? Every fixed ops manager in this roundtable right now knows what I'm about to say. When that guy's stressed, he's not spending any money. When he's calm, when those cars are coming out fast, yeah, fix it. Put that on there. Oh, in-cabin air filter? Absolutely.
Agreed, 100%.
You got 7-day cars. He's like, no, frontline now. You know, I've been on the other end of that desk going, oh, crap, we got to hurry this up. We're going to go broke if we don't.
Absolutely. Agreed 100% there, Anthony. That is absolutely true. And quite frankly, it takes out it really takes out all the emotion, and it makes it to where there can be a quick, objective decision. It can be based on what I can do on this car, but it's just simply, let's move forward and get this going. So it really, as long as everybody's bought in, as long as everybody is living on the app, it flows really well.
I love it. Great words, Denim.
Okay.
Denim, in closing, anything you'd like to share with our audience going into the fall on the Recon front that you want us to be aware of? And then, Anthony, I'll come to you next.
Sounds great. So, and I just really want to take off a little bit more what Anthony mentioned about what our used car manager, the decision maker, is deciding to do on reconditioning of these cars. And right now we're starting to see a little bit of compression, right? And a little bit margin compression on some used cars where we came out of a pretty lucrative time period. And so we really have to be sharp in order to be able to recondition the cars, that put in the reconditioning that we want to put in without jeopardizing any of that margin that is able to be made on the front end of that vehicle. And so as I'm looking through the future here, I am seeing that is going to be a tighter and a much tougher market, and we cannot stand idly on the side here waiting for these cars to get through, or spend too much on them, or whatever the case is. And so your processes better be in place and better be quick, so that car can turn and be available for retail sale quickly. So just be prepared for that in the future.
Good advice. Anthony, bring it home.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit. Let's call it a pro tip. A lot of you are probably already doing this, but if I can reach one person that's not, and they go, oh my gosh, we need to do that, then these comments are worth it. As those vehicles come into your service department, a lot of times I see dealers do first in, first out. And let's put yourself in the shoes of your technician. It's 4:30 in the afternoon, and the next car in is a 10-year-old 85,000, 100,000 mile car. It needs a lot of work. And what do? You pull it in, you rack it. Yeah, got about 20 minutes left, and you're out. So you close your box, you blow out, or you talk to your buddy for 10 minutes. You will deal with that one tomorrow. Be cognizant of what vehicles are coming into your service department and what work they need. If you've got it's a CPO unit, it's 2:30 in the afternoon, maybe 3 o'clock, but it's third in line. But you can get to that today. All it needs is an oil change and some wiper blades, and the what you call it, the usual, Dennis, the usual parts.
Yeah, the usuals.
And you can get that over to detail tonight. Get that car put in there ahead of the rest of the stuff, because he's still going to deal with that CPO stuff now, and he'll deal with those heavier jobs in the morning. Those are the jobs you bring in at 8 o'clock in the morning. just because the car is next in line doesn't necessarily mean it's the best car to bring into service right now. Pay attention to your technician availability and how much time you have left in the day to maximize how many cars you can get through. And same goes with detail.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can apply that to any repair here. It doesn't have to be service, but
right. The old adage, what we don't do today, we can't make up tomorrow. So anything that I can get done and out the door today, and like you say, be able to pick a early year that's just going to breeze right through. Let's get that car through today so I don't have to have it wait for this older age unit like you mentioned.
Great.
Wow. This segment has been stocked full of pro tips. I want to thank Anthony from Rapid Recon, Denim, Simkins. Thank you so much today. Everybody, if you're not already using and utilizing Rapid Recon, I suggest you reach out to Anthony and, you know, go with the pros. You heard the advice from Denim. We need to be able to use all the technology and tools at our disposal, and you've got the best in Rapid Recon. Anthony and Denim, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us, Ted.
Thank you very much, Ted.